Hello, everybody. We're live. So nice to see everybody here. We're so excited. I'm just so happy to see all of you today.
Yeah.
I really missed you guys last week when I was sick, and I think Michelle was maybe somebody had a conflict, and so it was just like I was weird because I didn't see you guys for a whole week, and I felt very strange. I think that's why it's not been right this week. Yeah. So anyway, hi everybody. Thank you. We have all kinds of folks here today who are our regulars, and if we have any new folks today, I want to make sure that we all introduce ourselves because, as you know, I am prone to just launching into crap without actually introducing anyone. So let me introduce my fabulous panel for today. Michelle Schusterman, welcome.
Hi. Hello. Hi guys, I'm Michelle. I am a young adult and middle grade author, and my YouTube channel is Writing Workshops and Traditional Publishing Advice.
Yay! Very good stuff. You guys should definitely check it out. Hello, DAL. We're so glad you're here today.
So glad I made it. Some technical difficulties, but here I am.
Yay! I think this is sort of par for the course today. So DAL, you are just in time to tell everybody who you are and what your channel is all about.
Hello there, humans. I am DAL CECIL RUNO, the partially blind alien who is a known voices author, aka the ace from space. I write primarily sci-fi, but I like to explore other genres in my short stories, and I also write some poetry. I have a short story coming out this Halloween. It's available on pre-order. You can find all of that on my channel, and I also have a free flash fiction audio short story that you can find on my YouTube channel. So I have things now. I have things.
Yay! DAL has things. If you want to check those things out, you should check out her channel. There's a link to it in the description. Yay! I'm so proud of you, DAL. That's awesome. Story detective Robert Jones is here. Just tell us all about you. What have you been up to?
Well, I've been still writing my quarantine story. I've been building a website. I've been and some other business things, which has yet to be publicly announced, but there's a lot going on. So my channel has been a little sketchy with videos, but I'm working on a couple of things, so I'll have new content up soon. And speaking of my channel, which is The Story Detective, it talks about everything craft-oriented and analyzes it under the microscope of a Sherlockian detective kind of attitude and separates the BS from the facts and hopefully gives you some good information. I also do tech reviews.
I also do tech reviews and fashion. I love your channel, Robert. I think you like great. I'm sorry, I'm so goofy. This is what happens, you guys. I don't do a live stream for a week. I go insane. Apparently, I need my people, right? This is like my only social interaction all week. So I'm so thrilled to see you guys. I don't know what the heck I've done with my hair here.
You know.
All right, say it again because all we saw was you patting your head and laughing. What was that?
I also talk about hair trends a lot and how you can help get shapes.
Yes, go for the craft videos, but stay for the hair tips for sure. That's what we're all about with Robert. Awesome. Let's say hey to everybody who is in the chat today. I'm sorry, I'm so goofy, you guys. We're going to be in trouble all day. All right. Nihilist Geek was first. Yay! Oh my gosh. You know, I have a feeling I just had the realization. I'll bet the reason Caro is not here is because that poor girl has had internet blackouts all week long. She could not do her stream yesterday. She's just been incredibly frustrated. Nihilist Geek, we're so glad you made it today. We're so glad. Devin's here. Hey, Devin. Love it. What kind of bird is that on your avatar? I'm wondering. Does anybody know what kind of bird that is? It looks like the birds that are in my backyard a lot, but I don't know what it is. I don't recognize it. Spence is here. Hey, Spence. We're so glad you made it today. Laurel's here. Hello. Melanie's here. Hey, Melanie. We're so glad to see you today. All right. Alexis is here. Hello, Alexis. We're so glad to see you. Michael's here. Awesome. Michael's like number 8 today. That's okay. Devin was like, Nihilist Geek was like on it today. I came over to say hi and I think he was already here. So Melanie says, don't forget to show. Oh, thank you so much. You're so sweet. Steven's here. Hello, Steven. We're so glad to see you.
Hi, Steven.
Wendy's here. Oh, I love that avatar. Super cool. Super, super cool. Bonnie's here. That's awesome.
Hi, Bonnie.
Melanie says, yay, Michelle and Robert are here. Hope you're feeling better, Lisa. Thank you so much. We were actually talking about this right before we went live. I felt like I was dying. And like I had like a crazy sore throat, like it was like strep. But I think it was actually, I don't think I was actually sick. I think it was allergies. It cleared up after a couple days. I felt terrible, but I'm relieved that it's not any sort of, other kind of a bug. So thank you very much for your well wishes. I'm feeling much better. All right. Melanie says, doll. Everybody's reaction to doll is always like, doll. We always like to see it all. All right. Georgie's here. Hello, Georgie. We're so glad to see you. Theo Savvy's here. Yay. She says, hi, Daily Schusterman doll. You know who else is going to join us? Not this week, but next week is Tamara.
Oh, yay.
Woo!
Yeah, I know. I'm super excited because like Tamara always wanted to come do our live stream, except she was living in Hawaii and we were basically on in the middle of the night for her crack of dawn or something. So now she is back stateside, so she'll be able to come out and hang out with us, which is pretty cool. All right. Melanie says, hey to CO Savvy. Barbara's here. Hello. Ooh, okay, so we have a little love for Michelle. Theo says, have to thank Michelle for her great advice in her vlogs about finding time to write. It was life-changing and encouraging. I love watching her vlogs because it's like catching up with a friend. Plus Rosa.
I made a video for CO based on a question she asked.
Did you really?
I saw that you commented, but I haven't gotten a chance to go into my comments and catch up. But I'm going to reply today.
Oh, that is so awesome. That is so awesome. It looks like a heron, maybe. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is it a blue heron? No, blue herons are darker. Yeah, it does sort of. It looks familiar to me, but I do not know the type of bird. Devin, I promise I can spell. Thank you, Isaiah. We're so glad you're here today. Melanie says, allergies have been terrible this year. I've had migraines for most of them last week and earlier this week. Finally feeling normal today. Is that a thing? Yeah. Feeling normal in these times? No, it is not a thing. Temporarily normal is good, though. New normal is true. I also get like killer migraines, but I don't get them as bad once once hurricane season is over, they go way, way down. Yeah. Anytime there's just like pressure systems and craziness. So I'm wondering if that yours too, Melanie. Gosh, I'm sorry.
I had a migraine the size of Vatnajökull, which is like the biggest glacier in Europe. So yeah, a migraine the size of the biggest glacier in Europe. That was this Monday. I thought I was gonna die or something. So yeah, lots of symptoms going around. It's just it is what it is.
I think that's true, and that's. What was that, Robert?
I said we're going through the same thing here. Yeah, Georgie is worse than I had the migraines. I just feel like I have a very mild, almost like I'm getting a head cold and little tiny little woozy sinus problems. But yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. Like it felt like I was sick, but it, like I said, I think that it ended really pretty quickly in 2 days, and it got better with like antihistamines, which made me think it ended up like that it was allergies. But I wonder if people are getting like little. I mean, you are also staying pretty close to home, so you're not being exposed to a ton of stuff. And that was what was. It's confusing. Like normally, you might sort of attribute that to like, oh, I have a cold, or I have a head cold, or a strep, or whatever. Because that's what I would have thought for sure. Yeah. We went from being like really hot and humid to having where it was actually chilly. Then we went back to humid again, and then it abruptly changed back to being chilly. And suddenly everybody started getting the same. So
yeah. It's like we all live in Colorado, where it's like 85 one day and snowing the next. So, all right. Melody wants to know, what is everyone working on today? And she must be psychic, because that is the question that I was going to ask. She is doing some client work and revising a fantasy short story. What are you guys working on today? Let us know. Let's start with you, Robert. What are you going to be doing today?
I'm still revamping my story. Worked on some graphics for website stuff last week, and then I hit kind of a roadblock. For doing the website, it looked like it was step-by-step guiding you through it, and all the graphics I put up, I went by their specifications and I started uploading it.
Oh, no.
It's like that stuff, and it's not going to work, so I need wheels.
Oh no! All right, tell us.
For some reason.
Tell us again, because you kind of roboted out. I know. All right, so you said you did all the graphics according to their specifications, and then what happened with them?
Then I uploaded them. I got like a third of the graphics sliced out of the middle, and the rest of it was gone. And I tried formatting it. Things seemed to work. So I'm coming back to some writing this week, and then I'm going to go back to the website, watch some tutorials. But I need to get back to writing because I took almost a week off.
Yeah. It's hard too, I think, sometimes. Like, it's great to take time off, but if you don't have a schedule of taking time off, like where you sort of have an established routine or pattern, it can, at least for me, it can be really hard to get back into the swing of things. It sort of takes me like a while to acclimate back. It's awesome that you were talking about your website today, because as you know, it's the first Wednesday of the month and it's our promo stream. And today's topic is actually author websites. So we are going to be talking about that when we come back from the break today. So, all right. Thanks for letting us know what you're working on. Michelle, what are you going to be working on?
Two things. First, I'm actually going to host my first live stream on Saturday, because I'm doing the Worldwide Write-a-thon, which is very
Michelle, question,
yeah.
Michelle, do you still have space for co-host, or are you full?
She assigned me 3.
Can I join?
If you want to, sure. It's
awesome.
It's at, what time is it at? I flipped it in my head. 8 EST, 8 p.m. I think it's like 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. EST on Saturday.
Awesome. I can do that.
Yeah. Congratulations. Send me the, I won't remember now, but if you send me a little note with the time, and I'll put a link to it in the.
Yeah. I don't have that's part of what I'm doing today, is actually setting it up. I don't have a link yet.
Okay.
Yes, I will do that.
Okay, cool.
I got asked to do a presentation about building a mystery plot at the Secluded Writers Conference. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. They did it last year. It looked like a really cool event, and it's free. I do have a link for that, Lisa.
All right, send it on, and we will put it in.
So that's like in a couple weeks. I think the weekend of October 20th.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm working on that presentation. I have like a rough outline of it, but I need to.
That sounds awesome.
It does sound awesome. All right, send me those links as soon as you have them. Doll, what are you going to be working on today?
All right, very happy that today is the promo day, because I have to do something new for me. I have never done this before, and I am terrified, and now I have the guidelines to do it, so I know how to do it, like technically speaking, but I don't know what to put in it. It's a press release for my short story that's coming out.
Ooh, okay.
I have no freaking idea what to put in a press release for a short story.
I will tell you what to put in a press release for a short story. I have done more than 3,000 interviews and was the PR director for a publisher. I can tell you exactly what to put in a press release. So,
oh my God.
So we will talk about that. All right, look who's back. It's Story Detective. Yay. So I am going to be working. I have like a couple of things to work on. I too am late with my quarantine with story, and I do not like to be late on a deadline. And really have only had one time where I was actually super late on a deadline. But I am late on this deadline, and part of it is because this is the first short story I have ever written, and I overwrote it. And
Oh.
and I'm like really struggling to cut it down by like half. And I thought I was really like, I'm like really paying attention to the word count and all this. But then I wrapped up the story and it just went crazy. So I thought I was on a really great track till I got to the end. And now I'm like, crap. I'm really
I happen to know how to say a lot in few words. According to Robert, because he heard my flash fiction, and he said, and he told me, thank you for the feedback, by the way. He told me that I know how to put a lot into few words, so I happen to know.
She did make her little, what was it, 1,000 words, and
Yeah.
putting what you got in there, you made it seem very easy, and I'm just like, can't do that.
It's a challenge. Well, you had a problem with overwriting too, Robert. Didn't you have a little bit of a challenge with that?
What you just said is exactly my. Only I started pantsing it, and I ended up having 2 false starts because I thought I was headed in the right direction. I got halfway through it, and I realized the ending just wasn't working.
Yeah,
Revamped. But, you know, I usually sit a little while with my stories and figure out the characters and the plot. And diving right into this, since the deadline was rolling, I needed those couple of weeks just to digest it. And then finally, when I figured out the plot, I was getting kind of burnt out on it because I had already written the thing like 3 times.
All right, it's going to be okay. You're going to work it out. We're going to work it out. I just have not, you know, like everything I've written has been like a couple thousand words or like 80,000 words. I think the shortest story that I'd written before this was like 60,000 words, which was a young adult, like 60, 65, like sort of middle grade bordering on young adult. So that's a lot. I have a lot of cutting to do. So I'm going to be doing some of that. All right, so let's hear what everybody else is doing. Then we're going to do our 5-minute warm up. Then we're going to come back and talk a little bit about websites. All right, so Sarah says, hi, as always, I'm at my day job. I'm popping in to hit the like button. Thank you, Sarah. That's so sweet of you. Melanie says, love that this month's write-a-thon is happening on my birthday weekend. Whoop, whoop, happy birthday. Nihilist Geek says that you can ask him about websites anytime, Robert. So that is super cool. Very nice. Very nice. I have posted a link right here to the writing summit. I posted it in the chat, but as soon as we are done today, I'll go ahead and post it in the description also. Nicole is here. Yay, we're so glad. Hey. Right with Melanie, 3,000 interviews. Yes. Actually, so it's 3,000 different outlets, but a gazillion interviews. I mean, I spent like.
Guys, Lisa has been on TV. Okay,
like I've literally done the daytime show for like 14 years, I think. Wait, what is it? Yeah, since 2006. So that's 52 a year right there. All right. Anyway, CEO Sav. So yes, talk to me about press releases because I will tell you. And I'll also say there's a lot of terrible information. Very well-known YouTubers have done videos on what you should put in your media section of your website or what goes on a press kit. And I will tell you, they are dead freaking wrong. All right, CEO Savvy, finished outline for my Nano project. Yay! YA Anime Fantasy Book 3. Good job, CEO. I'll be working on a new project for this stream. I'm drafting character profiles for a contemporary superhero story. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Melanie is going to be doing client work and the laundry. Very exciting. I'm so far behind on laundry. I managed to get into the washer and the dryer, and then it just lives in a basket. And I go, well, we're not going anywhere. Who cares if we look like we slept in somebody's pocket? All right. Nihilist Geek is going to do anime, martial arts, fantasy sometime in the future, not YA. Oh, my gosh. Hold on. Michael says, happy for you, Michelle. Right with Melanie says that summit is awesome. Congratulations. Nihilist Geek sounds like a great read. Martial arts anime research is fun. Yes. Sakatubi, we're so glad you made it today.
Hi, Sako.
Nicole is here drafting the last scene of third novel. Awesome. Novelist Allie, so glad didn't miss alive. I'm ready for hurricane season to be over with. We were just talking about this today. Like, I know it does not technically end ever until November 30th, but usually don't have much action in October or November. I, too, am sick of hurricane season. I feel ya. All right. Hello. Debbie's going to be working on a comic script. That sounds awesome. Laurel is eating and hanging out here for the chat. Love that. Hey, Maya, we're so glad you made it. Yes, I'm the kind of TV star that no one has ever heard of. But yes, thank you very much for that. That is awesome, Geek. Super exciting. All right. Audra showed up to like my morning circle for work is starting. Yay, thanks, Audra. All right, here we go. Nicole has a question. We are going to get back to that, which I think is a really good question. We are going to talk about this and websites. So when is it a good idea to consider a complete relaunch of a series? And CO Savvy says, don't be so hard on yourself about laundry unless you're wearing your bathing suit as underwear. It's not that bad. You will be saddened to know that I actually bought not that I didn't do it, but I did. I will say I can go longer in between laundry now. I will say that. It wasn't like, oh, I'm out, I'll just buy more. It was like, I could stretch this out. All right. This is so sad. So you guys, I'm super excited because I did my big video for the week was not a writing video. It was actually a timer for writing sprints, and we're going to use them.
I believe timers are very good for like branding your shows.
Well, it's definitely very me, as you guys will notice.
Exactly.
It's already going. Here we go. Hold on. So it started without me. So we are going to get started. Hold on. You guys have to hear the goofy music that I put with it. So it has ocean sounds. I'm not going to do any sound for the first one, but if for the next streams you guys want to hear the ocean sounds, let me know. If you want it to be quiet, just put your vote in the chat. But for the first one, we'll go quiet because I don't want to shock and surprise anybody before we have a vote. So, all right, everybody, here we go. Okay. Sorry, I had to do like a little dance there at the end for the. All right. So yeah, sorry. I just realized I like hit the thing. It just took off. All right, hold on. I just did like 4 things at once. Okay. So yeah, fun. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know. Let me know in the chat if you want to hear the ocean sounds while we're doing our sprints, or if you want it to be quiet. It's your call. Either one, I'm good.
The good thing about having sounds, and this is why I do it, because blind over here, I only have one monitor, and because we're doing other things, we're not necessarily looking at the screen. So like having a sound, knowing when the sprint ends, like, you know, having the indicator that, oh, the ocean stopped, that means, oh, we're back to the chat, you know?
Well, and also you do have like the fun, like vacation music at the end. But yes, I agree completely. It is nice to have a little, and some people's background music is distracting. And so that's why I asked if you guys would rather not have the ocean sounds. Usually white noise is not distressing. All right. So how'd everybody do in our little warm up? Good?
Pretty good.
I'm setting up my stream.
Yay! Awesome. Awesome. Oh my gosh. All right, you guys, let me go back. We had a good question. Here it is. Nicole asked, when is it a good idea to consider a complete relaunch of a series? I was considering a big push of the first book during my pre-release period of book 3. Are you talking about a pre-launch? Are you talking about a relaunch, or are you talking about just sort of a build-up to the beginning of the series before you release the 3rd book in the series? Because generally a relaunch has more to do with, you know, either you've made some big change to the book, or, you know, maybe the series is kind of older and you're kind of revamping it. I don't know. Michelle, what do you think on that?
Oh, you know, I honestly don't know. That sounds like an indie thing, and not so much something that we would have a choice to do in traditional publishing. I've heard of publishers relaunching series and like totally repackaging them,
Right.
because they don't feel like they like marketed it correctly the first time, and they still believe there's an audience out there for it. And honestly, that can do a lot, like changing the cover and even the title.
Right.
Can it hurt? Can I say it can't hurt to try it?
Yeah, I guess it depends on how much attention there is on the first. The other way that publishers and indies often will sort of relaunch a series, I just use air quotes, which I hate. But sometimes what they will do is they will, like, if say you did a cover that you really don't love for the first book in the series, and you decide that you want to do like a more sort of cohesive series look, that you might consider doing it as sort of a big relaunch. Or once you're in book 3, maybe you really want to push the fact that it's a series, because obviously in book 1, it's the first book. And so a lot of times you're promoting it as though it's a standalone. Even if you intend for it to be a series, it doesn't have an audience yet. So Nicole, will you tell us more about like the questions that you're sort of grappling with, so that we can be of more help? Robert and Dal, do you guys have anything to weigh in on this? Robert?
I'd like to know how long it's been since the first books came out. If it's been a while, what kind of sales did she get on the initial books? A lot of people like repackage books before release of new stuff. I don't know if I agree with that, especially if you didn't get big sales. The 3rd book may be the thing that cues people in that you already have 2 other books there in line. So if the 3rd book launches well enough, it could bring sales to the first 2, but definitely promote them. When you 3rd one.
Well, and a lot of times you'll start promoting, you know, a couple months before the release of the next book in the series. You start really promoting the first book in order to get people excited about the series and interested in buying the 3rd book. So a lot of times people will do giveaways with the first book, or, you know, they'll do something in order to kind of get people engaged in the series? So I'm fascinated with this question. I definitely want to help. She might also be talking about doing a box series of the book and packaging the 3 of them together.
I also think, like Michelle said, if you're on book 3 and you've grown, you know that the books aren't completely up to par and you're going to do some revamping and re-editing, then new covers, freshen it up. Maybe your idea of what a book should look like has grown and you look back on the other stuff and say, well, that's really not as good as I think it could be. Then definitely repackage, revamp, and put them out there again.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Good. Okay. Give us some more info, Nicole, because I think this is a fantastic topic, and I want to come back to it. I really want to come back to it. All right. So we are going to answer some, or not answer. We're going to see how everybody did in the little warm up, and then we are going to talk a little bit about author websites today. All right, so Audra says, finished my first draft last week. Yay, that's so super awesome. Melanie says, the fact that there are enough storms, they've run out of names and went into the Greek alphabet says a lot about the state of the planet. Yes. Here's hoping the laundry doesn't tackle you back. I feel like I have some pieces in there that might. There we go. Awesome. Oh, Sako says, just did a workshop on writing a series, an anchor series. That is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. All right. Melanie says, it may try, but I shall conquer all. Here we go. LR Archer says, yes, love the ocean sounds. That's good. Welcome, LR Archer. Super excited. Shelby is here. Sakatumi's here. All right, here we go. Sako's going to use this to write some blogs. CEO says Lisa's timer started without her. That's the DNA confirmation there. Because my timer is as spazzy as I am. Thank you. Laurel digging the beach vibes big time. I love to write at the beach and I can't now. And I think it was just like me trying to make that happen, at least in my brain. Jesse, we're so glad you're here today. All right, hold on, everybody. We jumped. Sorry, StreamYard. Yes, I match. I'm sorry. This is why these are all my colors, because I am definitely an ocean girl. All right. So, Jesse, this is what I do to sort of get myself in that kind of mindset. And the reason for that is because I always have, not always, but for a long time, I've tracked my writing. And I used to give myself a day of writing at the beach, as a reward. Like if I had a really good writing week all week in my office, I would go to the beach on Friday to write. And then when I started tracking my writing, I realized I wrote twice as fast at the beach. So I was writing 600 words an hour in my office, but 1,200 words an hour at the beach. And so I'm like, well, shoot, I should write at the beach every day, which I did for years. And now I can't. And so what would happen is that I would, when I couldn't write at the beach, I would listen to ocean sounds when I wrote, which so I do a little better like that. Ooh, Nihilist Geek has a really good suggestion here. Read Chris Fox's Relaunch Your Novel. It's 99 cents on Amazon. Anything that Chris Fox puts out is generally really top notch. I have not read that one, but I would believe, based on everything else that he's done, that it's pretty good. Nihilist Geek says, if you believe you can foot the bill with sales, it's worth it. If not, just run promos and advertise book one. CO Savvy says, Bethany relaunched Stolen Kingdom when she remade covers to better suit the genre. Ooh, here's another good question. As a newbie author who's going to self-publish, is it a good idea to have the entire series written before launching the first book? Or if you have a strong readership, do you release book one? So this is such a great question.
Yeah. Right?
It's such a great question. I'm trying to figure out how we can make Robert not look like Mr. Wilson. With any wordier questions, we're all you just stand tall, Robert. So so there are two schools of thought on this. You do get a big bump from Amazon, which is still responsible for not all ebook sales, but definitely the majority of book sales. It is the largest bookstore in the US. there is some benefit to the algorithm, from the algorithm to doing like a rapid release schedule. And in order to do that, a lot of authors, and this, if I were ever going to rapid release, I would be doing it this way. And I think, Robert, you're doing it this way, aren't you? Planning?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have talked to people who've done self-publishing since it started taking off, and some made pretty big names for themselves. But the thing is, self-publishing is changing all the time, but it's not something that is set out for people who work a day job or have other responsibilities. Look at how fast you can write. And if you're putting out your first book and you have a series and you want to launch another one within 3 months, 4 months, I mean, it better be in pretty good shape that you can do that. Otherwise, you're going to disappoint your fan base. You're going to skip your schedule. Things are going to be moving around, and all of that makes you look not so good within the first year. The first year has been 4 to 6 novels, and I have broken my story down into, since it was a large story, into an arc story that takes up 4 novels, and I've pre-written the whole thing. And I think it's best to have things down on paper that you know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to fumble. Things happen.
Sure.
Things in the world, we can't keep up with things normally.
Right.
So start releasing book 1 until book 2 and possibly even book 3 is written.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, Michelle, I think you probably know better about this than anybody here, is that a lot of times when you're in the middle of your series, you think of something where you wish you had something you wish you had like put through the entire series, or even marketing wise, if you wish like, oh, if I had something, some awesome idea you have when you're in book 3 or, you know, whatever. Yes. Oh, hold on. You're muted. Wait. Okay. No, it's you. Yeah.
Sorry, my dog had been barking and I muted her, and then I forgot.
Doll.
Yeah, I'm actually I had a series that came out in 2014, I think, or 2015, and it was about a girl who was on a Ghost Hunters TV show, and like midway through the series, I think the 3rd book was about to come out when the reboot of the Ghostbusters movie came out, and I was like, there we go, Lady Ghostbusters, tween Ghostbusters, there's my pitch. I just really wish, like, if I, you know what I mean, that I had to go back and like pitch that series that way from the beginning. Because even as much as I loved the original Ghostbusters as a kid, pitching it that way just never occurred to me. I thought Ghostbusters was too old for it to be relatable to kids today. But anyway, yeah, that was something that, like, had I been self-publishing that, I might have repackaged it to like fit the Ghostbusters vibe a little bit more and tried relaunching it completely.
There really is something to that. Marketing wise, you have a lot more opportunities. But I do think there's something, especially if you're a new author and you want to quickly build an audience, I think that, you know, it used to be that readers were perfectly happy to wait a year between books. And I will tell you, as a person who writes standalones that are traditionally published, they used to wait for you, and now they forget about you. It's like reinventing the wheel every time. And there's a benefit to cementing yourself in the reader's mind enough where they are not going to forget, like that they'll wait for your next book. And so I think if I were doing a series right now, I would do it just like you are doing it, Robert, which is that I would write several of them in advance and do a rapid release of one, you know, every 3 or 4 months, probably every 3 months, and try and get out 4 books that first year. And then you could go to a slightly slower release schedule after that. But at least then they're waiting for it. Then they're invested in your series.
And that's what we did in the comic book industry, which is exactly parallel to the rest of the publishing industry. It's just that the media is different and you're doing rapid release constantly, meaning we put an issue out every month. So we were on issue 3, finishing it up by the time 1 came out in a 4-story arc, and still meeting that schedule, things happened. So you can't trust time, and you can't trust scheduling. You need to plan for every contingency and be in pretty good shape. Otherwise, you're running late.
Yeah, I think that there's some real wisdom in that, especially right now where there are so many things up in the air. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm behind on everything. So I do know about you guys, actually.
Me too.
Right?
Me too.
yeah, we're all behind on everything. So Melanie says that's what I'm leaning towards as well. I think that's pretty wise. So Nihilist Geek says Nicole Wolf cover book 1 looks very good. Book 2 does not quite fit the colors of the other 2. I'm not sure if he's Geek. Are you like making a judgment call there, or you're offering a suggestion? Give us some more. Oh my gosh, StreamYard. All right, Melanie says, oh, laundry. That's right. Awesome. Fantastic. Maya says, I think with covers, you need to have them all match. I hate it when authors change the covers midway through the series. It's a book lover pet peeve for many people. Also, they don't recognize, like it doesn't connect with them that it's a series. I think it definitely needs a good look. This is why it's so frustrating to authors who like go from one house to another, and the second house has like a completely different look than the first house.
Yeah.
And so you never really get that branding from one to another to another to another.
The freaking Diviner series by Libba Bray. It's one of my favorite series of all times, and it went through 3 cover rebrandings so that like book 1, book 2, and book 3, the copies that I own, none of them match.
Oh, I hate that.
It pisses me off.
That's the worst.
It is the worst. Laurel says, I hate that. Laurel hates when you can't see that the books go all together. Geek says, if people get in like your book 1, they're likely to jump directly to book 2, and that gives you a good bump to sales. And a lot of indie authors, as you guys know, indie publishers, do the first book in a series like perma-free, and so that people will get sucked into the series and that they will buy book 2, book 3, etc. Melanie says, thank you, Robert. Thank you, everyone. Cat Clint Theo Savvy says the Cat Sinclair series. I'm going to buy that now, Michelle, since I love Ghostbusters.
It's
so
a good
great.
draw.
Yes.
I wish the timing had worked out.
Jesse says, I'm working on my series as a whole because it's easier for me to separate into sections so I can see how well each part moves along. Also because I'm a huge plotter. I feel ya. I'm with you on that. Definitely with you on that. Melanie says that's a great way to look at it. Geek is offering a suggestion, no use changing book cover 1. All right, very good. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and go into our second sprint. I'm going to put up the 20-minute timer, and I think we didn't have a ton of votes as far as whether or not we should keep the ocean sounds. So
I say keep it.
Keep it? Okay. All right. So that's what we'll do. We will keep the ocean sounds. And I think we did, that was like our, we got more votes for that. Okay. So Nihilist Geek says perma-free is out of vogue for 2 years now. The problem with me is I'm just not cool. 99 cents was used for quite some time. I guess it's $2.99 for book 1 and $3.99 for books 2 and 3. Jenny's here. Hello, Jenny. We're super glad. CO Savvy says ocean sounds, please. You got it, people. All right, so here is the deal. We are going to do a sprint. I never do like the exciting sprint call out, and I feel like maybe since DAL is here today that she should do it. She has such enthusiasm. So,
Okay.
DAL, would you like to do our little sprint call out? Let me get going.
Okay.
Here. Let's get to our 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
All right.
Ready?
All right. 3,
Go.
3, 2, 1. Spree. Oh no, 2, 1.
It's slow.
Spree. Blindness. Are we back?
Are we?
Lisa, you're muted. Or no, she doesn't show muted on StreamYard, but we cannot hear you.
Mm-mm.
She's
gonna
coming back.
bail
She's
and
coming
come back. All right. Well, I think I finished a thumbnail, so that was
I
my
set up a
20 minutes.
stream. I shared the link. Michelle, I messaged you on Instagram. Oh God.
Well, I'll include you in the email.
Oh.
I have a group email with the other hosts.
You have?
So
do you
I
have my
will
email?
link later today.
I will send it to you anyway.
Do I? Is it in the spreadsheet for the worldwide? I can't say it. Worldwide.
Yeah, my email is in the
Is it in the
spreadsheet,
spreadsheet?
Okay, cool.
Okay, then we're good. I'll find it. Lisa, is it working?
Lisa, no. Oh no. Oh no, Lisa.
What happened?
There's something going on with your mic. Oh boy.
Whale? Robert,
Well,
what did you do?
I finished roughing out a chapter rewrite, so that's something.
Hey, that is something. Very nice. Well, we can't share everybody's comments because we're not running the live stream. Dang it.
Hold on, let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa
I
is
see
a mime,
Lisa is a mime.
Poor Lisa.
Man.
That
That's
something
funny.
went on with her. Maybe when she tried to share audio for the timer, and also we did not get audio. We did not get it.
Yeah. No,
All right, I'm here.
Okay, you're here. Yes.
Yay. Okay, I think my audio was not working because I was trying to figure out like a bunch of different things so that everybody could hear the ocean sounds, which were not playing. I think it's because I had my headphones on. So on the next sprint, I don't know what I'll do. I'll try and leave and come back and see if I can't make it work.
Did you when you're sharing the timer? So you're sharing a YouTube Chrome tab, right?
Yes.
And the only thing you have to do for the audio to play is there's a tick box in the bottom that says share audio. You just click on that.
Hold on. We're going to check that out. Because, yeah, okay. Yes, that's all we did. So, hold on. Wait, I have to pull it back up again. You guys keep talking while I'm, instead of me saying, hold on.
You have called the DAL CECIL RUNO tech support hotline.
There we go. All right.
I've never done this before, and I'm very nervous about Saturday. I've never used StreamYard as a host.
I like I said, you have called DAL CECIL RUNO for the tech support hotline. If you need help with your StreamYard, press 1.
Okay, good.
It's normal, despite the fact that I have many problems with it, is actually not that hard. But this is the first time I ever tried to share. Like normally I just play it, but this is the first time that I ever tried to like share the audio. So let's do like a little test here and
Let's do it.
See if we can get it to go this time. Oh, hold on. There was a little box when I was doing the share. Wait, let me go back.
That's the box that you need to tick before
stop share. All right, we're going to try it again. Now at least we'll know how to do it. Oh, you guys, I'm like such a dork. I cannot. I keep hitting it. All right.
Slow down, Lisa. Slow down.
I know, right? Okay. Share audio.
Yes, and now share.
And now share. Okay. Let's see if we can hear it, you guys.
Okay.
There you go.
What? Okay. All right. Oh, hold on. There we go. Okay, that's it. Now we know how to do it. Well, you know what's weird is I think I've been literally the whole time sharing timers without the audio. Do I just come back and go, okay, let's go, everybody? That's kind of jarring. I wish somebody mentioned that to me. Mime Lisa was scary. CO Savvy. See, I need Lisa loud, spazzy, and proud. That wasn't magical. Okay, let's talk about what people did. Okay, Jeannie, at least now we know we can hear the sound and the funky music when we go in and out. So that is very helpful. So I'm very excited.
Lisa has
about
some
that.
salsa timers there.
I know, right? This is what I was saying. Like, I had a really good time. On the numbers, I did like my usual font that I do for all my thumbnails and everything. It's sort of like a tiki hut font. But underneath it, I put like beach towels. So like all the numbers are like little beach towels. So Debbie got 74 words. That's awesome. Yay. That is absolutely fantastic. Let us know how you guys all did. Okay, so we had another question, and I do want, because we promised that we were going to talk about websites today, and somebody had asked about this. I want to talk about that a little bit first, and then we'll go answer some questions, and then we'll go back and do another, sprint. So now I have to stop my screen. Let me try to do this again. All right, here we go. So I put up like basically just sort of what you need for a basic website. Can I make this full screen? Probably. Maybe, maybe not. Nope, you guys just get this. Oh, slide only. How about that? Okay. That's not very much better. Anyway, I just wanted to write it down so I did not forget everything. But like, I think that a lot of times writers, especially before they have finished, think like, oh, well, I'll wait till I finish my book and then I'll do my website. But as you are sending your book out to agents, if that's what you're choosing to do, or as you're sort of prepping things, I think it's really important to have a website before you even before you have a book. And if you have a book, definitely have one. And it doesn't have to be that complicated. You can just have things like your bio. If you have books, you should have them on there, obviously. Don't just do Amazon. I know everybody does that, and that's the easiest. But if we do, like if you skip out on the other 6 major retailers, then your chances of like getting carried in a Barnes & Noble or even doing an event at a Barnes & Noble, if you want to, go down dramatically because it pisses all of them off. You want to have links to your profiles like BookBub, Amazon, Author Central, Goodreads, your socials. You want to have some way for your readers or the press to contact you. You probably want to have a media room, although that can wait until you have a book come out. And it doesn't have to be that complicated, but you definitely need to have like a downloadable photo so that they get like something that that they don't need to get rights approval for. So something where you already have a release for it. And this, if you took one yourself, that's okay, as long as it's good quality. And you also want to have like a downloadable book cover art. And then, of course, your newsletter sign up. Okay, so Nihilist Geek just did made a good point, which I was actually going to say, and that is if you are only doing KDP Select, then obviously you're only going to do Amazon. And not everybody goes wide, but if you are wide, you want to make sure that you're covering at least all the bookstores that are carrying your books. So does anybody have stuff to add on this?
That's pretty much everything that's on my website. I'm trying to think.
I mean, I'm a new author. Like, I have just my first short story. That's a romance thing that was part of the anthology. You have heard me talk about that before.
Yeah.
And now I have this upcoming crime thriller short story. That's, you see, I just have short stories out. I don't have a book.
That's okay.
So now that I have those materials, now I can put that on my website. But like, other than that, what do I have? I have a section where you can hear some of my poetry that I have on YouTube. So I have like the videos.
That's great.
Of my poems. And I also put the short story that I just released on YouTube. You can also listen to that on my website. So like, I don't really have much. And and a sign up for my newsletter. That, you see, author bio. I do.
So that's just basically who you are.
Pictures of myself. I only use one where I'm sitting.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's basically who I am. My brand is not with my face. So
and you don't have
what I did was, okay. No, what I did for the website, so because you need some kind of picture of something,
Yes.
and so what I did is I used, because I write about Iceland so much, and my short stories are all set in Iceland. I used an old, well, not an old, but one of my best shots where I am sitting on a block of ice at the beach. So, but you still cannot see me. It's like you see me from behind, and I'm at the beach, this black sand beach with the block of ice. So, hey, that's DAL. Could be
Well,
anyone, but that's DAL.
but it could be anyone, but that's dull. So
Yeah.
generally that's just because a lot of times the bloggers who might cover you, or the media who might cover you, places that will do reviews, a lot of times they like to run a photograph. But if it is part of your branding, like it is with DAL, and like Sophie Kinsella for years just had that picture where she did not have her face shown. It was a picture of the back of her, and she's carrying a bunch of shopping bags, because she wrote the Shopaholic series. And so she really, that was kind of that was part of her brand. Generally speaking, for most authors, you're going to want to have a picture. But again, if it's part of your brand, and I love the Iceland idea. I think that's kind of cool.
That has to do with my press release as well. I want I want that people can see that I have been there, and it's not just like someone who just happens to like it and has never ever set foot in there. No. I want to prove, like, hey, I've been there. I have done my research as well. So, I want to show them that I am being respectful.
Well, that's good. That's good. And that you're a real person, because a lot of times, they want to make sure that you're a human. But there are plenty of people that, that are
human.
a little adverse.
Well, I mean, that's debatable.
That's a good point, doll. That's true. They want to make sure that you're a real being. We'll say that. So
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
so I have, go ahead. Go ahead, Robert.
I think in the bio, so many people, again, coming back to authortube and people selling services, and there's so many people out there. I think that they need to list some kind of specifics. Do they have any experience working in the trenches? Do they know anyone or have apprenticed with anyone that's actually in the publishing industry? Or, again, I just finished editing last week a sample chapter for a client who had been with previous editors, two of which he said he found out were just phonies from the beginning, and he called them out and they kind of vanished on him.
Wow.
The third one had some credibilities, mostly through authortube, but authortube is not exactly a publishing credit.
I don't
think it did him a complete disservice, because there were things in there that were good. The writing was smooth, but everything that should be in the first few pages was spaced out in the first 2 chapters. And he's looking for an agent. There's no way he's going to get one, because the first chapter doesn't have location, doesn't have genre, doesn't have anything that should be fun. It's very amorphous where it's taking place. I mean, it's and the fact that somebody's not telling you these things up front should be a major sign. Don't work with that person, because you're going to be paying them and they're not going to be delivering. It's whether you're self-publishing or traditionally published. The rules are essentially the same, because readers expect a certain amount of information and a certain amount of something up front that's going to grab them. If you're not grabbing them till the end of chapter 2, you're pretty well lost.
Well, I think this is interesting because, when I did the interview with the reviewer, Debbie Hopt, one of the things she said was, like, at the beginning, that the quality expectation for indie published books was lower. And now so many of these books are at or above the same level as traditionally published books. The expectation has also risen. You can't put out crap and get away with it anymore just because it's indie published. The bar is higher. You have a lot of really great indie publishers, and they have raised that up. And so the expectation of readers is there. I will say that your bio does not necessarily, you don't have to have worked in publishing necessarily for your bio. A lot of times they want to know what things you've done are interesting that sort of relate to your book, or are just interesting about you. That a lot of your bio that you would leave on a website would be something for readers and for the media. And so what they want to know is kind of interesting things about your background. So if I'm writing your bio, Robert, I would say that you had formerly worked for Marvel, because it's fascinating, and because there's a high barrier for entry there. And so I know,
And that's a credential.
right, you've already been successful in an area that obviously it's a type of publishing, but even though someone might think like, oh, does that really translate? It does, because you have been successful in an area that already has a high barrier for entry. If you are writing legal thrillers and you're an attorney, then I would put that in. If you are, let's say, an alien from outer space, I would put that in because it's unique and interesting, and it stands out. So it doesn't, like, for everybody who has never worked for a publisher or doesn't have those sort of traditional credits, I wouldn't, don't feel like, oh, I don't have anything to say. You have to just mine your background and your work life and your experiences as a human to find the things that are interesting that relate to your writing.
Comics are a combination of fiction writing, writing novels, and screenwriting, because that's what we're doing. We're writing scripts, and everything that goes into creating a film, which goes into making a book, goes into doing a comic book. And we sit around and we work in groups, and we have our meetings, and we have our discussions, and the group dynamic and working with other creators is a really great learning experience. But it's a fusion of the two, except instead of making a film, you're creating snapshots on a page and finishing that script and making essentially storyboards, glorified storyboards, which is what a director would be using anyway.
Right. But you still have to have all of the parts of the story.
Exactly.
So yeah. I know. I think it's interesting. I imagine for you that going from comics to books is that you just have to flesh it out, like more detail, but your structure is the same. You still have, right? Is that, yeah?
Structure is the same, but you do have to paint it with words. You have to actually describe what's going to go into those panels. But essentially, a panel is almost like a paragraph in a book. Everything that goes into that panel should be within a paragraph. It's one point of view, it's one main action, it's building up to a point that leads you to the next panel or the next paragraph. So essentially it's the same once you understand it. So I think they're really great for whether you're writing a screenplay or whether you're writing a novel, to see how those storyboards work, because that is a different form of storytelling, but the parallels are the same. When I came from sequential art to writing novels, I thought, people are telling me this stuff, and it's like, I know this, it translates different, but all the things are there. But writing is a craft that, you have to be able to write descriptions, you have to be able to write dialogue. Comic book, there are a lot of dialogue with a little bit of other, and it's really a broader, deeper well, and you have to really be able to see it on a vastly different degree. Even as a visual artist coming into a novel, I'm seeing things in my head, and after I wrote it, it's like, okay, it's not translating quite as well. I need to flesh this out a little bit more. So it's not as easy as you think, even if you've been a storyteller your entire life. So
what? Writing novels is not as easy as you think? What? No. All right. We have a good question from Jesse. Oh, go ahead. What are you going to say? Sorry. Did I pass? Okay. So Jesse says, before I forget, does anybody do character personality charts for their characters and their arcs? How deep do you go? I've been into MBTI and the Enneagram for a long while, so that's something that I use. What about you, Michelle?
Sorry, I was chewing.
I
don't do character personality charts. I find that they kind of stifle me in the beginning. Like maybe later during revisions, I'll use them to track their arcs and things like that, especially if I'm writing a series. But I honestly don't like doing it at the very beginning, like the brainstorming part of the process. I like to write through them and figure out who they are, because they almost always change, no matter whether or not I set up personalities at first or not. They end up being different people slightly who I think they are.
Yeah, I do a really rough sort of, and a lot of times I'm just writing things down. I do the same thing, like I write through it to kind of figure out who they are. I often have some idea when I start, like what one particular character's, biggest flaws are, or challenges, because often they, relate to the plot in some way. They should relate to the plot in some way. And so I want to make sure, but a lot of times those sort of quirks, and there are other things that develop as you are writing. And I do keep, I do write them down, so that I will, go back to them kind of as I'm going, to make sure that that the character feels like a real person. But I don't do super, super detailed character sketches. I did for my first novel, but yeah, but I don't really do that now. What about you, Doll?
I do plan a lot. First of all, because of blindness, I need to keep consistency with my characters, because I am not one of those who, you can just fix it later. No, I cannot fix things later because I am blind, and I don't have that luxury. I have to go with a very well formed everything that I need to write. I already need to know what I'm going to write. It's for me, it's that's why I don't give writing advice, because what works for me definitely doesn't work for sighted people, because it's so different, it's so outlandish that I don't feel like what I do will help anybody out there. But I do plan my characters deeply, especially if you're narrating in first person. I tell you why. The voice of your character. You have to get to know the voice of your character before you put a single word on that draft. You will fix it later. You can do that. You have that luxury, but you will need consistency, and it's going to be a pain in the if you don't get that. It's like your first chapter is going to sound like an introverted, neurotic, stressed, anxious character, and then by chapter 10 maybe you discovered that your character actually is very extroverted and likes parties. No, it's a complete 180, and no, it's not real. People are not like that unless it's like an ambivert, or people who might have like a mood swing. So you have to figure all those things out, and all the whys of why your character is a certain way. So I am very strict. I'm very sorry. I'm very strict and demanding, and very hard on how I really need to know my characters as real people before I write anything about them, because otherwise it's not going to feel real to me, and I feel like I'm wasting my time, and I don't have the eyesight to do that. I don't have that luxury. So that's why I'm so hard on myself.
Well, it is. There are always a million ways to do this. So the idea, and also, Doll, I hate to say it, but you don't know who you might be helping, because we get inspiration and good advice from unexpected places. So you may think this is only for you or only for blind writers, but somebody in the chat today may have heard just exactly what you said and thought like, oh my gosh, I need that. So you never know. Don't sell yourself short.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm trying to be realistic.
What are you going to say, Robert?
I've tried a lot of different experiments. And in the beginning, I tried writing like anywhere from a paragraph to a page on my character before I started writing, because that's what's recommended in a lot of books. And like, it changes constantly. I've tried planning to the point where I've nailed down everything, so I just have to script it. And that's wrong. That felt like I was forcing it into a mold, and character keeps changing. I do a very loose outline. I will spend maybe 6 weeks to 2 to 3 months filling up a notebook. And when I know I have the notebook getting about halfway filled up with different thoughts and ideas on the story and characters, I generally have enough to write a novel without writing a formal character bio. But I will write an outline. It won't be very intense. It'll be more like a sentence or two. This is what happens in this scene. This is what happens in this scene. Here's plot point 1 and plot point 2. And even that changes while I'm writing sometimes. You can't write it in stone.
I think what happens to me is, in the majority of the cases, not all of them, because some of you happen to know that I have a sighted character, but majority of the time, I write blind and visually impaired characters, and that will inform the character's personality, how they grew up, their background, their family, if they were supported or neglected, if they were abandoned or abused or welcomed, or all those things will affect the character's voice and the story in itself, the decisions that the characters make. So since I write about a certain community and not everybody is the same, and not every blind person, we're not a monolith, I really have to sit down, especially when the character is not like me. My flash fiction short story is a very good example, because I wrote about a 31-year-old Icelandic man. I am not a 31-year-old Icelandic man. So, and also I don't have glaucoma. He has. So like I had to think.
Sure.
So I do have to plan ahead, especially if you're going to write about something that's a little bit out of your experience, which I encourage. I'm not one of those who's like, you cannot write my stories. No, you can. With respect, you can. But but like when you're writing something that's not that well known to you, you do have to plan ahead a little bit. Otherwise, you're gonna have triple the work to do later.
That's absolutely true. I think what Michelle was saying was that basically that she's doing that work as she goes along. And that for me, that's what it is. It's not that you're just writing it without contemplating who the character is, but you're sort of seeing how they react in different situations, and right, you make trouble for your character and you see how they're going to get their way out of it. And I don't know if you guys do this. I do like Frankenhumans. I always think like, oh, she's confident like my friend Lisa. Oh, she's got this quirk like my friend Tina, and or this this interesting tick or something that someone that I saw at a 7-Eleven had that that was like stuck with me. So I'm always sort of like mashing together personalities and things that I've seen and experienced along the way. All right, so this is interesting. Do you find it easier to type main characters or side characters? Are any usually harder to type or chart than others? For me, I usually have a really good idea of who my main character is before I start. It usually sort of pops up with the premise of the novel. Side characters often, I don't find them particularly challenging. I mean, sometimes they do, but sometimes they end up being more interesting than I originally anticipate. Like as you write the story, they sort of surprise you with their depth, and I find that happens to me regularly. So how about you guys? What do you think?
It depends on the story.
Yeah.
Villains for me, it's the other half of the story, but it's harder to get into the head of the villain because you think of them as bad, but to make them plausible, I have an idea of what they're going to be like, but they will change. And it's not until I have that aha moment with the villain that I know the story is really coming together. And that takes a combination of planning and some writing and figuring out who they are and getting inside of their head.
That's also one of my favorite things, is because you're right, you cannot just make the villain bad, right? It's just that a villain is a villain because they have goals that oppose your main characters. And so I like to try and find ways where you think your villain is kind of awful in the beginning, but that by the end of the story you sort of understand their motivation, and that maybe they're not so bad, that they're that they have their own life, their own stuff. All right, you guys, we have some super good questions, but we only have time for one more sprint. So now that we have figured out sound, we think, I don't want to make any promises that we
remember, DAL CECIL RUNO support tech line. You just have to press Chrome tab and then share audio.
Okay, I've got it. I can't believe that I have all this time been doing these with that I'm the only one that can hear the buzzer. Now I feel really bad. All right, here we go, guys. So with no further ado, exciting beachy music and beach sounds for your final 20-minute writing sprint. Here we go, everybody.
Hang on.
Right.
Yay!
Yeah, Lisa. Be right back though. I'm just muting.
Okay. All right. Good. We have a little echo. Is it good now? Okay, she's good. All right. Yay. All right. So how did everybody do in our last sprint?
Yes.
Wait, do we like the ocean sounds?
Yes.
Or does everybody now feel like they have to use the ladies' room or the gentleman's room? Soothing. Very soothing. Yay. Jesse says progress was made. Woohoo. Nihilist Geek, I got 245 words. Love that. Heather loves the timer. Welcome, Heather. We're glad you made it today. Thank you so much. That was super sweet of you. We appreciate it. Laurel says, now I feel all dancy. Right? This is the thing. That was like my trying to get out of a blue mood kind of project. And I super love them. So you guys are awesome. We had such great comments, and I wish we had more time. Dawdling Writer wrote 232 words of a new story idea, headed off to prep for our own stream. Thanks so much for the chat and the sprints. So speaking of other streams, Dahl, are you doing? Oh, Dahl's. Oh, you're back. Okay, good. So you're doing your stream today at 2 o'clock, right?
Yes.
2 p.m. Eastern time, which is in about an hour.
Yeah, in about an hour. Yeah, I am co-hosting with Becca C. Smith today.
Awesome. That is fantastic. Nihilist Geek says he feels like suddenly using the ladies' room. That's the ocean. And Nicole wrote 220 words. Endings are hard. Although once I get to 80%, which in a 75,000 word novel is at 58,000 words, I feel like I just sail through to the end. True? Michelle, you have that too?
Yeah, it depends on the book, honestly. I've had some where I've really struggled with the ending. But if I have it pretty plotted out, then yeah, the ending comes
definitely.
quick.
How about you, Robert?
In a novel, yes. In the short story,
that was a tough one. That was a tough one. Dahl, how about you? Does the ending come fast when you get closer?
I was in a chat.
All right,
I went on Discord.
You're excused from this question. That's funny. Okay, you guys, we are going to quickly do our little outro since we're right at 1:03. I don't want to go too long. I want everybody to make sure that they have a chance to, get some lunch and all that. Laurel started the dishwasher, ate food, got ideas for my website, scheduled a live stream. I feel very productive. Yay! I love it when that happens. Michael says, thank you. Goodbye. Thanks so much, Michael, for being here. Michelle, why don't you start with your outro, and then we'll just go around until we get back up to me.
Hi, guys. I'm Michelle Schusterman. I'm a young adult and middle grade author, and my YouTube channel is Writing Workshops and Traditional Publishing Talk.
Awesome. And Dahl.
Thank you so much for having me. Hey, humans, I am DAL CECIL RUNO, the partially blind alien who is an own voices author, aka the ace from space. I write primarily sci-fi, but I like to explore other genres with my short stories, and I also write some poetry. I have a debut short story that's already out, a flash fiction that you can find for free on my channel, and an upcoming thriller crime short story that's available for pre-order. All of that, you can find it on my YouTube channel and social media, all of them by DAL CECIL RUNO. And I'll see you on my stream in 1 hour, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Dahl. Story detective Robert Jones.
I am the story detective. I analyze all things story, and I put it under a Sherlockian microscope for that analysis and give you feedback.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I am Lisa Daly. I'm a traditionally published author, and on my channel, we talk about how to write a book you're super proud of and get it published. And we do this awesome live stream where we have these awesome people every week on Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you guys want to keep streaming and getting some more words in or working more on your Preptober, you definitely want to head over to Dahl's stream, which is happening in about an hour. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here today. Phenomenal questions today. I think we had like such a good discussion. And I always feel like we could always go on for like 7 hours. But I'm going to pretend like Caro's here today with her hand on the clock and telling me it's time to get out. So, all right. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And we will see you next week. Bye, Savvy. Bye, Heather. Bye, Michael. Bye.